I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to dead if I could find the time. As I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me.
Say congratulations, Mr. Chairman. Your work exposed the truth to the American people, and I think this was a truth election. This is an election of reality reasserting itself, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of our show and our audience for your work exposing the Biden crime family.
Thank you. I really appreciate Benny, and I think the American people were paying attention. I think they knew that the Bidens never explained what they did to receive the tens of millions of dollars they got from our enemies around the world. I think they saw the whistleblowers we brought forward from the IRS that said they never paid a penny of taxes on it. And I think they saw with their own eyes Joe Biden lied countless times about his knowledge and involvement in the Biden family scheme. So I think the American people went to the ballot box, and I think that was one of the factors they decided in voting for Donald Trump.
Yeah, Gary Schlafly and the IRS whistleblowers are American heroes. They deserve, I think, congressional medals of honor. Would you be in favor of Donald Trump appointing them to run the IRS?
I have already reached out to the Trump administration. They need to promote Schlafly and Ziegler. They were already at near the top. They were at the top of the international tax scheme, tax crimes division. And you know, they have been retaliated against by the deep state. They should be running it. They're just as good a disruptors as anybody Donald Trump's nominated for his cabinet secretaries. I mean, these are guys that will do the right thing, and they should be rewarded for their bravery.
It was truly brave, and it was a very lonely fight back there.
It was,
Chairman Comer. There was a time when you were kind of a man standing on an island in your investigation. And you even had some Republicans turning on you and backstabbing you, but you stood and you were right after all of it. You were correct. You had the truth on your side.
We were right. The American people know the truth. My back is full of knife marks, but they've healed, and I'm ready to work with the Trump administration. Now we're going from now we're going on offense, and I think that we'll be able to get some things done. Now, with respect to accountability, you know, the American people from our work on the Oversight Committee learned the truth about the Bidens, but the one thing that hasn't happened is no one's been held accountable yet. Now that we are about to get a Republican Department of Justice and a Republican administration, I think that accountability is finally about to happen.
Wow. So let's begin with this. Criminals flee the scene of a crime. Hunter Biden said he's going to flee America. I saw some video of him at Disney World, not looking great, honestly. Looking bad. Let's just say not healthy. And he said he promised that he's going to leave the country if Trump gets elected. It was a very strange thing. If Kamala was elected, I certainly wouldn't leave the country and stay here and fight. You know, I got kids here. I got a family here. You have a beautiful family, Mr. Chairman. What does that say to you when Hunter Biden says he's going to flee? And now many actors are fleeing. Many individuals are now beginning to flee the country.
In addition to all the money that Hunter Biden took from our adversaries around the world, over the past 4 years while Joe Biden's been president, he still hasn't had a job. And he's still been living a lifestyle that the Kardashians would envy. This is being paid for by that Kevin Morris, the Hollywood lawyer, and other big Democrat donors. Now, they stopped when Joe Biden dropped out of the race. They stopped paying his legal fees. They stopped paying his allowance. So that's why he looks bad. And that's why, you know, I would assume Joe Biden's going to pardon his son and his brother. I've said that for months now. I fully expect Joe Biden to pardon him, because if he doesn't, they're going to prison. Regardless of who won the presidency, they're going to prison because they committed many crimes, including the criminal referrals that we gave to the Department of Justice for perjury, for their deposition and the transcribed interview. So, look, I think that Hunter Biden knows that his day of reckoning is about to happen. Accountability is about to happen. and he's probably looking at his options on how to escape, because he's gotten away with it his whole life.
Yes. So the gravy train has ended. How would you advise President Trump? I know you're very close with President Trump. How would you advise President Trump on the pardon situation? Some people are saying, "Oh, Trump should pardon him because of it'd be nice." And what's your take on that?
I'm not a big fan of pardons. I think pardons should be used in extreme situations. I think any politician in both parties, dating back over the last 30 or the last 3 decades, any president that pardons someone unjustly or without a lot of transparency, I think they pay the price, whether they're a governor or whether they're president. So, I would urge President Trump, I would urge him to use caution in pardoning, whether you're talking about pardoning Democrats or pardoning Republicans. I just think that the pardon is the last resort when the judiciary failed. When the judiciary failed, and someone was convicted that we later learn is innocent. I mean, to me, that's what a pardon's for. Hunter Biden's guilty.
Yes,
he was always been guilty. The federal government, the deep state, all the enemies of Donald Trump have covered up his crimes for years and years and years. He should not be rewarded with a pardon.
He's actually painfully undercharged, Mr. Chairman.
That's right.
As you have come on this program and detailed out with the evidence and the receipts, and God help us, cracking open the laptop. I mean, say a prayer before you look through that laptop.
That's right.
The son of the president, who is clearly engaging in violations of the Mann Act that was brought forward in your committee with receipts. The Democrats were scandalized by the physical evidence of this happening. Hunter Biden's despicable treatment of women and illegal treatment of women, prostitutes, and it's all there. The FBI has now used that laptop. I know you came on the program, Mr. Chairman, right afterwards. The FBI marched that laptop up to the dais in a court of law and said, "It's true. It's true. We knew it all along," in order to get Hunter Biden on those felony charges in Delaware. So I guess the point is that, is this a distraction mechanism? Why the hell, if they actually cared about these things, why the hell not bring these charges against Hunter?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, that's the ultimate hypocrisy of today's Democrat leaders in Washington. They didn't want to talk about the laptop because it had smut on there, and they call it X-rated. Revenge porn. They came up with every liberal term they could to describe anything other than protecting the women whose photographs and videos were on there without their consent. Anything except for the women that looked pretty darn young on there. They're I'm not going to get into the ages of some of them, but the American people can be the judge of that.
Okay, so taking a step back and looking at some of the other scandals. What's going to happen with this cocaine in the White House? I know you've been on that beat as well. Apparently, there's DNA. Are we going to get a chance to actually look at some of the things that have been covered up over the past 4 years? Because it seems like the cover-up operations have been sweeping in the DOJ.
You can forget about the cocaine in the White House because they destroyed the cocaine. It was in a little plastic dime bag or whatever you call it. So the potential for fingerprints were really good. Then you had all these cameras in the White House. Well, somehow it never showed up on any of the cameras, just like it was swept off the cameras or deleted or whatever. There's no camera angle that covered where that cocaine was sitting when it was found. And the plastic bag that contained the cocaine, they destroyed within 24 hours of finding it. The FBI, they said they didn't have any technology that could tell any fingerprints, which meant somebody must have walked in the summer wearing gloves in the White House. Did that come up on the video? No, nobody with gloves on, no fingerprints. And we just destroyed the evidence. They've got evidence from 100 years ago in safes and filing cabinets in law enforcement agencies affiliated with the FBI. But this one now, we had to destroy it. They destroyed it in 24 hours. That's going to be a successful cover-up. Whoever cocaine that was. I don't think there's anybody that will be able to find that. They covered their tracks pretty good. That wasn't the problem with the Hunter Biden scandal is there was a money trail. And that's where we followed was, we had the laptop, but we also started getting bank records, and bank records don't lie. And, you can have LLCs and shell companies and you can launder money, but there's always going to be bank records with bank accounts. Tax records don't mean anything. People lie on their taxes. They cheat on the taxes. The taxes are very vague as to where the money comes from. You just show net profit or net loss. But at the end of the day, the bank records is where we focused. And there's always going to be a deposit into or a wire transfer out of. So there was a bank record that would show the money that they were receiving and what they were doing with it.
So the Bidens are not off the hook. The Bidens are not.
They're not off the hook.
Yeah. Okay.
Nope.
It's going to be very interesting. There's Hunter Biden's going to be charged, I think, here in California.
And remember, he never would have been charged if we hadn't done this investigation.
That's right.
Because they were going to give him a blanket pardon. And one of the things they're charging him on is reference with the money they took from Romania. We found the Romania money. That wasn't in Miranda Devine's book, Laptop from Hell. That wasn't on the laptop. There was nothing about Romania on the laptop with respect to money. And when we got the bank violations, remember the suspicious activity reports from Treasury, we found where banks had flagged a suspicious wire from Romania. And it was a Romanian foreign national that was a corrupt criminal that later was indicted for corruption in Romania. They sent Hunter Biden $1 million while Joe Biden was vice president. And that is the basis of this one conviction in California.
Mr. Chairman, we call you the Bulldog on this program because of your absolute rabid searching of these records and uncovering the criminality there, scaling, zooming out. There's so much of that happening at scale in our federal government. You've just recently promised to work with DOJ and to create a subcommittee to work with DOJ. Can you explain and unpack that for us?
Yeah, no, we're real excited. A lot of what DOJ is trying to do would fall under the legislative jurisdiction of the Oversight Committee. We have jurisdiction over the federal workforce. We're the good government committee that tries to root out waste, fraud, abuse, and mismanagement in the federal government. So everything that Musk and Ramaswamy are talking about pretty much falls under the House Oversight Committee. So I have some great members like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm pretty sure she goes on your show a lot. And, she's not afraid to back down or walk away from a fight. And she's got a strong private sector background like Musk and Ramaswamy. She ran a pretty good sized construction business. So she met payroll. She dealt with government rules and regulations, and she is going to be tapped to be the subcommittee chair that works directly with them. We're going to try to implement their recommendations because that's all that Musk and Ramaswamy are going to be able to do is recommend things for either Donald Trump to pass as an executive order or for Congress to pass as a law. And with respect to Congress, if you go back 4 years ago when Trump was president the first time, he didn't really have a go-to person or a go-to committee in Washington. He was dealing with McConnell or he was dealing with Paul Ryan, and they were negative nannies on everything he wanted to do. What Trump has with the House Oversight Committee are willing partners that want to make government more efficient. We don't care if someone's feelings get hurt because we eliminate their fat cat bureaucratic job in Washington. We want to work for the taxpayers, not the bureaucrats. And we hate the deep state. We've dealt with the deep state. We fought with the deep state. So we want to work with him to implement his policies and initiatives. And I think it's going to be a pretty good match.
Yes, great. And very quickly here, you can do this. There's Supreme Court, especially Supreme Court decisions that have been quite recent here. You can end these agencies. There'll be a lawsuit, no doubt, but
there's going to be a lot of lawsuits. And we're going to have to make sure we dot every I and cross every T because remember, the personnel laws were written by the bureaucrats. And they were written by the bureaucrats for the bureaucrats. So once you get hired in the government, the way it is now, you're entitled to a job the rest of your life and a pension the rest of your life. And it's not fair to the taxpayers. We can't afford it. There are agencies that are in existence that don't need to be in existence. Maybe they maybe they were relevant a decade ago or 2 decades ago, but they're irrelevant now. They're obsolete. And the American people can't afford it. And we're spending too much money in Washington, which has led to inflation. So we've got to whittle it down. And you have Republicans talk about it a lot, but very shallow in substance and never deliver. It's, we couldn't deliver with a Democrat Senate and a Democrat president, but with a Republican president where we're working hand in hand and a Republican Senate, I think we can get some things done.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Your work was absolutely essential, and you know what it's like to be the lonely man out there doing the work. Here's James Comer. Obviously, you can hop on over there and follow 200,000 Americans plus follow the great chairman, and we look forward to promoting and hyping your work in the coming Congress.
Thank you.